Om, Om, Om. Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Haravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Hari Om Janki ji. Can I ask you a question regarding yesterday's session?
Yesterday, okay. Can you switch your video on?
Yeah,
I can see you.
yeah. I couldn't log in through laptop. Yeah. So Janki ji, I just wanted to know whether you said gross affects gross. Okay. So we had discussed this earlier that our guna, meaning Tama guna, Rajaguna, Sattva-guna, it does not affect the food that we eat. Meaning it affects the food that we eat, but the food does not affect that guna. So if we are talking of gross affects gross, and then you said that it does not allow us to manifest. So then our gunas are not manifested. If we are eating that tamoguna food and it is affecting the body that we are made up of, and our mind resides in that body, so then it does not allow us our manifestation of our vasanas. So indirectly, can't we say that that is affecting then our guna?
No, because the guna stays unaffected. The guna itself is not affected, right?
But manifestation is happening according to the food that we are eating, isn't it?
No, manifestation is not happening according to the food. All of
It is
us
blocking.
have tamas, all of us have tamas, rajas, sattva. If you keep giving yourself a conducive environment for the tamas and rajas, then that guna will keep on manifesting because you're giving a conducive environment.
So
However,
indirectly it is happening that way. Like we can't say that it is affecting it theoretically, but indirectly it is happening practically that what we are eating,
yes,
it is
but
manifesting that.
yes, true. Imagine that there is an engine that can go at the speed of 20 miles an hour. Okay? And it is going along the flow of water. It's an engine in a boat and it's going along the flow of water. And the flow of water is 10 miles an hour. Right? So your engine is 20, the flow of water is 10, you're moving at the speed of 30. Correct? But the engine has not been affected. The engine power is not affected by the flow of the water. So you're saying, no, but practically I am going faster. Yes, you are. But the engine is not affected.
Okay. So it's just the constitution of the engine does not change because of that. But the
Or the speed, yes.
manifestation is, oh, oh.
So we were studying the concept of renunciation. How, when we look upon something as a witness, it changes from affecting us to it changes from affecting us to what happened? Where are you all of you? Changes us from affecting us to
being under our control.
Okay, fine. from affecting us to being under our control. Okay, give us a more effective. Why is everybody's video off today? Can't see anybody. The only person I can see is Sheetal, and Sheetal is not looking at me. So this is quite sad.
No,
Are you
Janki.
troubling Sheetal?
No, I am telling Manit to close the door so that I can concentrate.
Don't speak to Manat during the class. You're training him to interrupt you.
Okay, sorry, Janki.
Okay. Where is everybody else? Why? Even Krishnan is not putting on his video today. Everybody is sleeping in class. Okay, come on now. All of y'all, until the internet troubles us and goes off, please keep your video on. One of my colleagues, he won't take the class. If he sends out a mail saying that keep your video on or and your audio off. I should also say the same thing. Keep your video on and your audio off. Unless you want to speak, of course. So now, where were we? When you look upon the world as a witness, it does not affect you. Not only it doesn't affect you, what else happens?
The world becomes a source of enjoyment.
Very good. The world is a source of enjoyment. If you do not enjoy the world, that means you are an involved person. You have to enjoy it. When your husband says something silly to you, you have to enjoy it. When your wife nags you, you have to enjoy it. Otherwise, you are getting involved. When your professors say, give you more work, you have to enjoy it. Otherwise, you're getting involved. The moment you look upon the world as a witness, if you're running a project that costs 108 crores and every day you meet new problems in it, you have to enjoy it. Otherwise, you're getting involved. Right? So don't just take it as a, oh, it's so nice to be Sakshi. The great sages are Sakshi. And if you are a Sakshi, you're a very spiritually evolved person. Don't talk nonsense. The question is, are you enjoying every bit of your life? Every bit of it. If you are enjoying every bit of it, you are on the right track as far as spirituality goes. And you're enjoying it not because everything is going right, not because your husband, your wife, your colleagues, your children are currently listening to you. You are enjoying it regardless of what they are doing. You can't say, oh, my wife has gone to a mica, so nowadays it's peaceful in the house. No, you can't say that. I'm enjoying when she's here and I'm enjoying when she is gone. Both ways. So, what is Momita saying? Let us see what Momita has to say. You are chatting as a guest. Okay, fine. Instead of check your privilege, we should say check your involvement. Yes, we can say check your involvement. Achha, the rest of you are not switching your videos on. Why are you all not switching your videos on? It's strict, no? I go on saying I'm a very strict teacher and all. Actually, I'm a sucker. Where is everybody? Right. Is this clear that if you are part of a spiritual program, you have to be enjoying every bit of it? Because being part of a spiritual program means that you're being part of Part of what happened? Part of gone in 1 second. Part of happiness, Deepak, is happiness, enjoyment, kalyan. These are all consequences. What are you being part of? Part of, to be say I'm part of a spiritual program means I'm part of a program that's helping me develop
Objectivity.
objectivity. If you are not developing objectivity, if you're getting involved, then you're not part of a spiritual program, because spiritual program, the purpose of the spiritual program is to develop objectivity. Okay, so people think, oh, I'm a great Vedanta. The other day, also somebody told me, my wife, she's a great Vedantan. She's not interested in clothes. Anything is okay for her. She never makes any demands. Oh, please, none of this means that you're a Vedantan. If you are a Vedantin, it means you are gone again. It means you are
Objective.
Objective
Objective.
objective person.
oh, okay, finally you're on the same page with me. Okay, you are objective. An objective person always
Enjoy.
very good. चलो यार, कुछ तो हो रहा है यहाँ पे. All right. So, what is renunciation? It is not what you do and what you don't do. Oh, he lives in a palace. He's not a renunciate. He's very simple. He's a renunciate. All this is all rubbish. Renunciation is known by your again, objectivity.
Objectivity.
How objective are you to whatever is happening? Krishna was a prince. He had 16,000 wives. Rama was a king. He had only one wife. But what is similar to both of them is
Their objectivity.
their objectivity. Sudama had nothing. He was a pauper. Janaka was a king. He had everything. But the similarity between them was
Their
Objective.
Their objectivity.
their objectivity. Now you see why spiritual life is difficult, because it's very easy to tell people ye karo or wo mat karo. Vegetarian khao, non-vegetarian mat khao, subah uth jao. You give so many instructions. None of that is really the essence of spiritual. None of it. You could be the world's richest person or the world's poorest person. It has got nothing to do with your spiritual life. You can be the most intelligent person or the most dumb person. It's got nothing to do with your spiritual. You may be surrounded by family and friends or be alone. It's got nothing to do with your spiritual. The essence of spiritual life is
Objectivity.
objective. Can you be objective to whatever you are dealing with? What you're dealing with is not important. How you're dealing with it is what is important. There are situations in life where you have to take decisions which you yourself will not like to take. But objectivity tells you that you got to do it. There are things you would like to do, but objectivity tells you, no, not for you. So the essence of spiritual growth, please understand this carefully. The essence of spiritual growth is
How
Objective.
very good. The essence of growth is objectivity. How you get to that is
your method, your sadhana.
Okay, say what is the sadhana?
3 yogas.
3 yogas. When you do the 3 yogas, what should be the result is renunciation, objectivity, whatever word you want to give. The methodology is the 3 yogas. The consequence of that methodology is
Objectivity.
Renunciation.
Janki ji, that means, Janki ji,
Mhm.
lotus in the water. Right,
Yes,
no?
is an illustration. Yes. So, whatever we do in our spiritual world, okay, in our spiritual life, whatever I'm choosing to do, has it made me more objective? Or has it made me more judgmental? Have you seen how judgmental spiritual people are? They always have an opinion on what other people should do. This means you're not spiritual. Because why do you have a judgment? Why do you have a view? Why do you have an opinion? To have an opinion itself is wrong. To state it, I don't know what to call that. I have no opinion. No opinion because it's got nothing in the world to do with you. Somebody bought a Mercedes. Why do you need to have an opinion on whether he should buy a Mercedes or not? But we have an opinion. You can have an opinion on whether you should buy a Mercedes. That opinion is justified. But somebody else bought a one man, he claims to be a very spiritual person. I met him in the US. He was one of my hosts, so I shouldn't say this about him. But between you and me, okay, don't go and tell him I said that. The thing is, his daughter, young teenager, got something done to her hair. I've forgotten now what she got done. She dyed it or cut it or curled it or something she got done to her hair. And then he really got on her case. He said, how can you do that? These are not our values. This is not our this. This is not our that. He'll give her a big bhashan on it. He thinks he did a spiritual act, but it's actually an involved act. Because why do you have a view on how another human being lives their life? No, we don't do these things. Okay, you don't do it, then you don't curl your hair. What is it to do with whether she curls hers? She was so excited about it. And he just managed to kill that excitement. I thought that was cruel. When you're a child and you play with toys and you see a child playing with toys and you go to the child and you give some bhashan on spirituality, that's more cruelty than, can't we enjoy the happiness of others? Your own children, when they're happy with some innocuous thing, okay, something they did to the hair, doesn't matter one way or the other. You make your hair pink. What does it matter in the big scheme of things? You remove all your hair, you cut it, you pink it, you do whatever you do. And you are enjoying it. And somebody comes to you and says, oh my God, what a big sin you did. This is a madhouse. And that is how most spiritual people behave. They have an opinion on what other people should want. Should want, you should not want this. That's a crazy way of looking at things. How can you tell anybody what they should want or not want? Objectivity tells you that people who have a desire, as you have a desire, that's that. There's no arguing with it. When you become objective, you don't make, when you become spiritual, you don't make demands on people. You don't make demands on objects. You don't make demands means you understand how they function. So if you notice what is happening in spirituality, you will find that 99% of it is reduction of objectivity, not growth of objectivity. And that's tragic. Paschanna pichana paschati mudaha. Though seeing they do not see, such are the fools, says Shankar. So close and so far away. So what is the essence of it is what we need to understand. The essence. What makes a spiritual person different from a non-spiritual person? Is it that he's doing rituals? Is that what makes him? Is it that he has marks all over his body? Is that what makes him spiritual? What is the essence of it? The essence of it is simply that he's objective to whatever on earth is happening. He doesn't want to be okay with it because he understands that but nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it means I cannot control how everybody behaves, right? But when I'm attached to people, then I want my child to do this, my husband to do this, my wife to do this, my colleagues to do that, my building to do this. Why? Because I'm attached. So I'm trying to control their behavior to suit me. This is the opposite of spirituality. Yeah, Momita.
The thing is, our desire changes to something else when we start practicing. So we want that kind of happiness for our children also. Like just yesterday, I told Arjun, come with me to the retreat. He said, okay, I'll think about it. I'll see if the date's match. But I didn't leave it at that. Then I started questioning him, why are you doing this? Why aren't you doing this? So after 5 minutes, he said, do you realize you're just making me averse to it? And that is when I stopped. But so was I being like, I thought I was being concerned for him. But I mean, what was it? Because I wasn't really, I mean, did I fail to register his growing?
No, the concern as a mother, you are concerned. What was it means you were concerned? The whole thing of a mother, what is the bottom line of good parenting? Has anybody ever considered that? What is the bottom line of good parenting? If you had to define that, what would that thing be?
Love.
You had love. Do you think this was a good example of good parenting?
Example setting.
Okay. That's one part of it, of course.
Behaving right.
Defining it, a different definition means it must have every element that it requires. Yeah, Sheetal.
Behaving in the right way so that kids observe and you really don't
That is
have
what
to.
your husband just said, by the way.
Okay.
So y'all are all on the same page. Very good. The spiritual growth. That doesn't explain to us parenting, Ashya.
Doing what is good for that child.
I think every parent does that. I mean, why would, but they're not doing good parenting. Watering a plant, Deepraj, every day if I get up and water a plant, am I going to go and become a good parent? Can't do that. Just being there and supportive. Nonita, if they're taking drugs, will you be there and be supportive? Think through what y'all are saying. Think what makes for a good parent. A good parent is an individual who is able to manage and direct his emotions for the child, helping them find their path towards a good life. Most of the children are fed up with us because we're constantly trying to help them build self-awareness. A good parent is a person who is able to manage his or her emotions towards the child. The reason we are incapable of good parenting is because we are not able to manage our emotions. So coming back to Momita, as a mother, she's deeply concerned about her child. If she had to choose between anyone in the world and her child, she will hands down choose her child. She's so deeply concerned with him. Okay, so now where's the issue in this instance? In all instances, is only that we are not able to direct and manage her emotion. So here she is, she thinks going to the Upanishad retreat is a great thing and she really wants her child to go and she cares about her child so much. This is the best thing you can do, you must do this. All emotion. Now to direct it. What am I trying to achieve? I'm trying to achieve that my child goes to the retreat. I have to ask myself this question. what do I need to do to ensure this? Instead of asking myself this question, what I do is I go with all my emotions and I offload it on the person, and that person just says, get out. Most children have that feeling towards their parents because their parents are just sitting on their head. As soon as, see, Mamita, when you were his age, did you want to go to an Upanishad retreat? Now you want to go to an Upanishad retreat, right? Now, just as soon as you want to do it, it is impossible that all family and friends will get the desire at exactly the same time. So we have to moderate ourselves. I've told you many, many times, I know, and I'm repeating it. My own brother, my flesh and blood, as it were, okay, for 30 years has shown zero interest in Vedanta. Zero is not the word, negative, I think it would be. Very recently asked me, that Vedanta thing you do, what is that? Just explain it to me. My own brother, right? And the reason he asked me this question, even after 30 years, is because
You have not
Growth
offloaded.
happens.
I haven't offloaded it on him so far. But that's the most instinctive thing. You hear Vedanta for the first time, you want to tell everybody, are you people mad? Why are you not listening to this? This is the best thing in the world. This will just sort you out. And the other person is saying, hey, I'm sorry, you don't need to sort me out. Okay, I hope that answers the question, Mommy.
So I should have remembered the goal, and as soon as he said, I'll think about it, left it at that, right?
Left it at that.
Yeah. So that was, I mean, I was not alert to his exactly what, paying much attention to what he was saying.
So that is called getting the intellect engaged. Now I'm trying to do something. I have to take all the steps that will take me there, and not to do any step that will not take me there.
Right. Keep the goal always front and center. Thank you.
Okay, so if you have to summarize the class in one word, what we have spoken about so far, that word would be?
Objectivity.
Very good. Omkar, you had a question?
Yeah, Janki, would you elaborate that part where you said being a parent, you have to manage your emotions towards the child? Is it? Did I hear that correct?
Yes. Manage and direct your emotions towards the child. So sometimes you feel a lot of love for the child because as a parent, it's the most, what should I say? As in any animal, that is the most powerful thing on us. Okay? People can dump their spouses also, but their children, nothing. Anybody, like puri dunya ek side or mera bacha ek side, it's like that. It's such a powerful instinct on a person. In fact, it's so powerful that good couples have to actually put it aside. If you're to have a good relationship with your spouse, you have to remember my spouse came first. Because if you don't remember this, the child will overtake everything. But the child has to grow on his own, and do his own thing. So you have to remember at all times that my spouse came before the child and I have to associate with my spouse. But now, when it comes to the child, such an overpowering emotion. If you can't direct it, you irritate the hell out of the child. No child wants you to offload your emotions on the child. The child is a small patra. You are an adult. How can he take what you're giving? So you have to restrict it. Because he cannot take it and it's irritating. I mean, it's like if there's a 5-year-old child, would you put like 50 kilos of weight on him? You wouldn't, right? So emotionally, when we do that, we don't get it. Now, these children can be very irritating also. The reason they are so irritating is because we are attached to them. Okay? So now you get anger. Because you're getting all these various emotions floating around as a parent. You get irritated. Can't you understand? It's so simple. I mean, like, why don't you just do what you have to do? Get dressed properly, whatever. You have to manage it. Just because you're angry doesn't mean you open your mouth and say something. Just because you're feeling love doesn't mean that you express it in some way or the other. So unless we are able to manage these emotions, our actions will go wrong with reference to the child.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So that's why. So from that, you really understand why a spiritually developed person is a better parent. Why is a spiritually developed person a better parent?
Because they can maintain objectivity, which enables them.
Objectivity, no?
Yes, they become objective. They're not reacting to everything. I mean, they're not reacting means whatever reaction they're feeling, there's not being expressed in an action. Because normally what happens, I'm feeling an emotion and I'm going to do some action. Chill. Take it easy. Your spiritual life means whatever you're feeling, you're going to filter. You're going to filter it. It is not just man mein aaya or bol diya. It is not man mein aaya or kar diya. Filter. There has to be a filter. That's how we mess up relationships, right? We say what? You know how some people, no filter whatsoever. They just say whatever is in their mind. And another set of people, they have a filter. But their filter is entirely selfish and self-centered. So that's not what we're trying to do. What we're trying to do is aim for a positive goal. Most people who have a filter use it for selfish purposes. The whole point of Vedanta is to develop an intellect so that it can be of benefit to all. I'm not developing my intellect just so that I can prey on everybody else, but so that whatever good I am able to do on my personality, its effect will be available to everybody. Chandran, becoming a cause point. I didn't understand. Maybe you're referring to something said earlier, Chandran. So, the essence of spiritual growth is objectivity. How do you know whether you're objective or not? Objective people enjoy everything. Have you seen these stand-up comics? You all have heard, na? They'll come and they'll tell you कि हम लोग holiday पे गए. On that holiday, you know how it is when Indians go abroad on a holiday. We are all going on a holiday slightly more than what we can afford. So then what do? We reduce eating out because you can do that. Now, what to avoid eating out, what do? We make sure we go to a hotel which gives us free breakfast. That one breakfast we make into breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and also snacks in between. So this is what we as Indians do, right? Now, one stand-up comic just talks about what we do. And the way he puts it, it's all so hilarious, it's so funny. But it was us only, we behaved like that. So why did we enjoy this whole thing? We were not able to be objective. They will tell you what happened between husband and wife. Now, why do you have to go and listen to a stand-up comic? आपके घर में वही हो रहा है. So why don't you enjoy it in your own house? No, somebody else has to give us that objectivity. It's a superimposed objectivity. And when they superimpose that objectivity on you, what do?
Laugh.
You laugh.
Happy.
The same thing is happening in your own house. The bai doesn't come to work. In your house, big problem. Stand-up comic talks about it, very fun. You realize that, right? So, as you grow spiritually, you become objective and you enjoy every bit. You don't have any judgments on others. You enjoy their happiness. If someone gets the Mercedes, you're very happy. Why are you not happy because that person got a Mercedes? Very good, he got a Mercedes, he'll give you a drive also. The funny part is, if you enjoy the happiness of others, can you imagine how much happiness you have? But if you say, oh, he got a Mercedes, black money. मेरा क्या जाता है, white money है या black money है?
जानकी जी,
Yeah.
जरा कॉमेडी है. वो भाई आया नहीं, so your that maid has not come. मतलब मैं ऐसा बोलता हूँ मेरे वाइफ को, घर के भाग खुल गए, तुम्हारा हाथ लगेगा सब चीज को.
Okay, very good. पर घर के भाग खुलेंगे तो आपका भी हाथ लगेगा तो ही ना. नहीं तो very nice for the wife. हाँ, maid नहीं आई, तुम सब काम कर लो. So everybody works in the house. When the maid doesn't come, it's fun. But when some people sit down and say, no, you do everything, then the other people say, that Mark Twain had this very beautiful thing in which was that book, Tom Sawyer. Tom Sawyer was told by his aunt to paint the fence. You remember this book, right? Tom Sawyer was told by his aunt to paint the fence. So he didn't want to paint the fence. So what did he do? He got things ready. He got the paint. I mean, she gave him the paint. She told him to go paint the fence. And then he went with the paint and he's standing at the fence. And he's like, a boy came by. He told that boy, today I've been asked to paint the fence. I would never give this to anyone. So that little boy who was passing by, he says, oh, let me do one, just one, let me try. He says, no way, this is mine. I'm not going to give it to you. So that boy gave him an apple and said, okay, I'll give you an apple. You let me paint the fence. So he said, okay, then if you want. So then he gave him the thing to paint. He took the apple. After some time, this boy got fed up. So again, Tom Sawyer went and stood by the fence and look and never let anyone. Next boy came. All the boys came. They gave him lots of gifts. The fence was painted, and he ate apples and played with marbles, and he did all. Remember whatever that story was. How did he encourage somebody to do something? By showing that I love doing it, right? And showing enjoyment, so people join him to do it. But if you yourself say, oh, Bai has come, you do the hard work, then nobody will want to do it. Oh my God, such a terrible thing has happened. There was one uncle of mine, so I was staying with him, and then the Bai didn't come. So I made the chapatis. So he's saying to me, आज तो हमारी चांदी हो गई, बाई नहीं आई तो अच्छा गरम गरम चपाती मिल गई. That encourages people to do stuff, right? But if you say, oh, ye chapati to burnt hai, then next time the person will not do anything. So we can create enthusiasm for work by loving the work ourselves. So when you say, Milind, I'm still on your point, though you wanted to just crack a joke, it's a very important thing that when we do it together and we love doing it, everybody is happy to do that job. But if we say, oh, baap re, mujhe kya stress ho gaya, bhai nahi aayi, everybody thinks some terrible job is there and they run away from it. Okay, so coming back, spiritual growth is the growth in objectivity. You begin to enjoy the happiness of others. You do not expect anybody to behave in any kind of sensible or rational manner, because sensible and rational people, by definition in this world, have to be
Objective.
have to be
Objective.
Objective.
no have to be. Now, just because all the previous fill in the blanks were objective, now we're saying
Spiritual. Spiritual.
okay, fine, but all spiritual, or by definition, sensible
Happy.
and balanced people in this world.
Happy.
Please, you are not following line of thought. Line of thought is, you do not expect anyone in this world to be sensible and rational, because by definition itself, being sensible and rational, such people are okay, all this is right, but we still don't know. Such people are, you're right, Prithvij. None of y'all are wrong. Obviously, all this of it is correct. So you don't expect everybody to be like that, because
Very
such
rare.
people are
Very rare.
Very rare.
very good, are rare, they're fewer. Imagine we are undertaking the spiritual path to become objective. How many people do you think are on the spiritual path? 99.9% are not on the path. Those who are on the path are getting involved. So any spiritual, any rational, balanced, sensible person has to be, again, gone.
Rare.
So why are you expecting sensible, rational people in this world? What you expect is the person is not sensible, is not rational, and now go from there. If he turns out to be sensible and rational, oh great, wonderful. Isn't it? Life is so simple when you become objective. Do you think good people are fewer or bad people are fewer? Like very, very, like, do you think excellence is common or mediocrity is common?
Mediocrity.
Mediocrity.
Then when you meet people, what are you expecting?
That only.
Mediocrity.
That you are, no, we will expect excellence. How is that possible? 9 out of 10 people you meet have to be mediocre by definition. Now, when you come to Vedanta, you find that a large percentage of the people here are not mediocre. And that should give pause to think, how come? How come? Here you find when people are on time, if they say they do something, they'll do it. You find them disciplined, you find them cheerful, you find them easy to work with. Something should give us pause to understand, how is this happening? Why is the general average not being shown here? Pause to think, right? It has to pleasantly surprise you. But when you get involved, you find one person who didn't do one thing and say, see, ye spiritual log bhi aise hi hote hain. That means getting involved. If your general average here is higher than your general average outside, then you're doing very well. You're in the right group. Your own assessment. So you don't say, oh, but that person did that and that person did that. Time to develop a little objective. Okay, so spiritual people are objective. Why are they objective? Because they're at the state of renunciation. How did they reach the state of renunciation? Through karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga. So if you find that you're not an objective person or not 100% objective, what do you need?
Karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga.
You need improve karma, improve bhakti, improve jnana. It's so simple. There is no rocket science going on over here. It's that simple. No? Now, that's what we have done so far. When you look upon a movie as a witness, you enjoy it. When you get involved in it, you suffer. Why do we get involved? Because we want to attach ourselves to it. Let us say it's a hot summer day and there's a pole and it's at the bus stop, okay, and it's a hot summer day. And then the pole has got really hot because it's a hot summer day. You go to the bus stop and you lean on the pole. And the pole burns you because it's a hot day and that metal has got so. You go home and you show your wife or your husband, and they also very sympathetic. They say, oh my God, you got burned, so sad. They put nice cream for you, you feel a bit better. Next day you go to the bus stop. Again, it's a hot day. Again, you go and lean on it. Like you. Again, you're doing the same thing. And again, you say, oh, I got burnt. Then again, when you go home, your spouse puts cream on it, says, oh, how sad. Again, put some cream, again, you feel better. And you do this every day. What would you say about such a person? But when we do it mentally, we don't get it. Every day, we grumble and complain about the same thing. Didn't you get it the first time? You leaned on something, that thing burnt you. At least now learn not to lean on it. Don't go and stick yourself to things that are burning you. No, I will stick myself and I'll stick to the things that burn me. तो फिर करो, कौन क्या कर सकता है? भुगत लो. That's what he's talking about. Okay. Who will read the next paragraph?
I can read. Almost every human being suffers from the nagging weakness of attachment. To rise above it, you need to strengthen your intellect with spiritual knowledge, a knowledge which exposes the absurdity of your personalized relation with the world, your immaturity. You begin to understand the futility of such relation. With knowledge seeping in, you gradually develop a sense of detachment towards the world. The dawn of detachment drives away the mist of worry and anxiety, leaving you in peace and bliss. So it says that every human suffers from this disease of attachment, and to get out of this disease, we need to use our intellect through spiritual knowledge. We need to reflect on spiritual knowledge.
So very good. Why does the attachment exist?
Because of our vasanas.
You're summarizing the paragraph, Deepti Raj. Why does he say that?
Because of our personalized relation with the world.
Because of our personalized relationship. You personalize it, you suffer. See, this is why this is so important in spiritual life. If I ask you, is reduction of ego spiritual growth? What is your answer?
Yes.
Has anybody got a no answer to this question? Reduction of ego is spiritual growth. Everybody will agree. And yet, we will go and personalize our relationships with the world. It's almost like we read it, but we don't get it. Everybody knows we have to reduce the ego. But when I'm personalizing, people will come to I heard that they were doing some Vedanta class somewhere. Wonderful, they're doing a Vedanta class. What do they do in the Vedanta class? Each one comes and shares his experiences. What on earth are you doing? Are you sharing experiences? I mean, it's all about me. That is why this so-called introversion that people practice nowadays, it's nothing but more and more about me. Me. As long as this me exists, Shivani, your video is on and there's too much movement happening. You've got a finger, I don't know what you're doing, but you can switch your video off. Preferably keep it on and you don't have movement. That would be the better of the two options. Everything is about me. You should see my life. Honestly, you should come with me when I meet people. It is a constant autobiography. The moment someone meets, they will start, I am this, I am that, I did this, I did that, I get angry, I don't get angry, I find that very irritating, I'm very loving. Constantly, to main kya karu? If you have a question on Vedanta, I can answer, but now you give me an autobiography, main uska karu kya? Very good. My job is to say, very good, nice, very nice, very good. Don't worry, very good. So now I can even say all these things without even listening. Little bit of labor-saving device. Anyway, they're not going to hear what you say because they're so full of themselves. And you are like, oh, when you were young and all, you concentrate and say, yeah, this and that, you have something to say. Then as you grow older, you realize, anyway, it's सुन ही नहीं रहे हैं, क्यों मैं मेरा energy इसमें waste कर रही हूँ? To have a person just listen to what you say when they ask you a question. Nobody should listen. I mean, there's no reason why anybody should listen. But if you're going to a person and asking that person a question, then listen. Otherwise, don't ask the question. Listen means hear it. You need not follow it, but at least hear it. If you meet anybody for 1 hour, 55 minutes will go in listening to their Ramkatha. The remaining 5 minutes, are you saying, yes, yes, very good. And 30 seconds, maybe you can try and say something sensible. So, the whole thing, when we say turn introvert, what is happening is people are converting their attention to themselves. Turn introvert means expand your attention. Maybe we should dump this language, turn introvert, because turn introvert comes from a certain usage of language. If we have to expand our attention, why do they call it turn introvert? It comes from a Vedantic concept known as Panchakosha. Are you all aware of Panchakosha? Okay, so it says that there is an Atman within us, and this Atman is covered by 5 sheaths. Okay, the sheath closest to the Atman is called Anandmaya Kosha or deep sleep, Vasanas. Next sheath is Vijnanamaya Kosha or the intellect. Sheath means covering. Okay, next covering is the intellect. Next covering is the mind. Next covering is the pranas. And final covering is the gross body. Okay, so there are 5 layers around the Atman. Clear? There is Atman in between, then there is Vasanas, then there is intellect, then there is mind, then there is, oh, here he's put it up. Very good. Thanks, Mahesh. Okay, so you can see right inside is Atman, then comes the bliss sheet, Vasanas, then intellect, then mind, then pranas, and finally food sheath, which is this body. This is clear? Clear, everybody, up to this point? Okay. Now, turning introvert means shifting your attention from the physical body to the mind, to the intellect, to vasanas. What is that supposed to mean? Today, my attention is that which gives my physical body pleasure and pain. Okay? That is an entirely self-centered thing. But when I start caring for my family, my friends, I have shifted my attention from my physical body to my mind. When I start caring for ideals, I have shifted my attention from my mind, that means my emotions, to my intellect. Okay, so from that usage comes this concept about go within. Otherwise, there's nowhere to go within. You have to go outside. There's no inside to go to. When you keep expanding, 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 and there are no boundaries left to your identification, that is called self-realization. But that usage, that go within, comes from go within the Panchakosha and reach the self within. So what has happened is people have said, okay, go within. I'm going to focus on myself. I'm going to focus on myself. Please, the whole point of this is just the opposite. Don't focus on yourself. When you focus on yourself, you personalize the relationship with the world. It's all about me. It's so ridiculous. When somebody does something good to us, we don't say he did something good to us. We great spiritual people say, oh, I have done good karma. It is so ridiculous. Instead of saying, thank you, that was so nice of you to have done that, I say, oh, my karma, I've got good karma. Because it's all about me. Everything is about me. My whole perspective is about me. This personalizes my relationship with the world, causes me agitation, causes me attachment and agitation. When I become objective means I'm looking at it from a higher level. What I used to look at from the perspective of the body, I learned to look at from the mind. What I was looking at from the perspective of the mind, I learned to look at it from the perspective of the intellect. So since I'm going to a higher level, it's covering a vaster ground. And because it's covering a vaster ground, I become objective and not just narrowly focused on something. So these personalizing relationships, you must behave like this. Why doesn't a husband get angry with a wife? Because you're my wife and you're behaving like this. Why does the wife get angry with the husband? My husband should not behave like this. Suppose your husband, okay, like my father used to love to wear very colorful clothes, let us say. He would love to, he went to Thailand and got some red batik shirt and my mother, she freaked. She said, what is this nonsense? I mean, he was usually well dressed. He was always suited and booted and all that. And she liked her husband who was suited and booted and all that. But when he wore this batik red shirt, she just freaked. She said, if you're going to wear that shirt, I am not going to go with you. She wouldn't let him wear that shirt, which he bought somewhere. He went and he bought that shirt. Now, why will she not go with him? Why will she not allow him to wear it? Because my husband should not be mocked at or laughed at by the community. Who should not be mocked at or laughed at or not appreciated? My husband. Other people's husband, that's fine. My husband. As soon as you personalize it, it becomes a source of agitation. Why do you get so upset when your child doesn't come first or your child behaves badly? My child. Remove the my and deal with the child, no problem. So the moment we personalize things, it becomes difficult for us to be objective. And when it's difficult for us to be objective, it becomes impossible to be happy. I hope this is clear up to this point, because one of the most important things is, what is our concept of spirituality? Usually our concept of spirituality is all sorts of actions and possessions. It's neither action nor possession. It is all about your perception of those things. The more you relate them to yourselves, the more egoistical the stance, the more personalized the stance, the more the attachment and agitation the less the egoistical stance, the less the personalized the stance, the less the agitation. That is why very often we throw people in front of a crowd and they say, no, 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 I cannot do this, I cannot do that. If you say that, again, your thought is gone to yourself. No, you do what needs to be done, regardless of if you have to speak, speak. If you have to shut up, shut up. You just do what needs to be done. Okay, so that's it for today. I think Neeru has an announcement for us. Neeru, you have an announcement for us?
Yes, we are happy to announce that we are going to have conducting a retreat by Janki ji at